In the bustling marketplaces of Manila and the remote villages of Mindanao, a single name resonated with the hopes and dreams of everyday Filipinos: Rodrigo Duterte. Here was a man who spoke their language, understood their struggles, and promised them a safer, more prosperous future. He wasn't a polished politician from the Manila elite, he was one of them. His gruff demeanor and fiery rhetoric were a breath of fresh air in a political landscape dominated by empty promises and entrenched corruption. Duterte's connection with the ordinary Filipino was palpable. He attended local fiestas, shared meals with market vendors, and listened intently to the concerns of farmers and fishermen. This deep-rooted empathy stemmed from his own upbringing in the southern Philippines, where he witnessed firsthand the poverty, crime, and inequality that plagued his nation. His journey began in the city of Davao, a once crime-ridden metropolis plagued by drug gangs and lawlessness. As mayor, Duterte took a hard line against crime, earning him the moniker the Punisher. His methods were controversial, but his results were undeniable. Davao transformed from a haven for criminals into one of the safest cities in Southeast Asia, a testament to Duterte's unwavering commitment to law and order. Rodrigo Roa Duterte was born on March 28, 1945, into a family steeped in politics. His father was governor of Davao, and his mother a prominent activist. This upbringing instilled in him a deep sense of public service. After law school, Duterte returned to Davao as a prosecutor. He gained a reputation for his tenacity and pursuit of justice. In 1988, Duterte became mayor of Davao City. The city was plagued by crime and poverty. Duterte's iron-fisted approach restored order. He imposed strict law enforcement policies. This earned him both praise and criticism. Some accused him of human rights violations. For many, Duterte was a savior who restored peace. By 2016, the Philippines stood at a crossroads. Decades of corruption, poverty, and crime had left the nation disillusioned with the traditional political elite. The people yearned for a leader who could break the cycle of poverty and deliver on the promise of a brighter future. Enter Rodrigo Duterte. Capitalizing on widespread discontent, Duterte launched an unconventional presidential campaign that resonated deeply with the Filipino people. He eschewed the polished speeches and empty promises of his rivals, opting instead for a raw, unscripted style that connected with ordinary Filipinos on a visceral level. His message was simple: change. He promised to eradicate crime and corruption, improve infrastructure, and uplift the lives of the poor and marginalized. His tough-on-crime stance, honed during his years in Davao, struck a chord with a nation weary of rampant lawlessness. His vow to eradicate illegal drugs within 6 months resonated with families torn apart by addiction and violence. Duterte's campaign was not without its critics. His brash pronouncements and unconventional behavior were deemed unpresidential by some. His fiery rhetoric and off-the-cuff remarks often sparked controversy, leading some to question his temperament and his fitness to lead. Despite the controversies, Duterte's message of change resonated deeply with the Filipino people. They saw in him a leader who was not afraid to speak his mind, a man of action who would fight for their interests. On May 9, 2016, Rodrigo Duterte was elected President of the Philippines in a landslide victory. His victory was a watershed moment in Philippine politics, a resounding rejection of the status quo, and a testament to the power of popular will. Duterte had defied the odds, overcoming the machinery of traditional political parties and the influence of the elite to secure a mandate for change. His inauguration speech was a testament to his commitment to the ordinary Filipino. He pledged to serve the people with integrity and dedication, to eradicate corruption, and to restore law and order to the nation. His words were met with thunderous applause, a sign of the hope and expectation that he had ignited in the hearts of millions. Section 5. The War on Drugs, a Necessary Evil. Upon assuming office, President Duterte wasted no time in launching his signature policy initiative, the War on Drugs. Citing the devastating impact of illegal narcotics on Filipino families and communities, he vowed to eradicate the drug trade within his first 6 months in office. The campaign was characterized by its uncompromising approach. Law enforcement agencies were given broad powers to apprehend suspected drug dealers and users, and a shoot-to-kill policy was implemented for those who resisted arrest. The result was a dramatic increase in police killings, with thousands of suspected drug offenders dead within the first few months of the campaign. The war on drugs drew widespread condemnation from international human rights groups, who accused the Duterte administration of condoning extrajudicial killings and violating due process. However, the campaign enjoyed widespread support among the Filipino people, who saw it as a necessary evil to combat the scourge of illegal drugs. Duterte remained defiant in the face of international criticism, arguing that the Philippines was a sovereign nation with the right to determine its own internal security policies. He maintained that the war on drugs was necessary to protect the Filipino people and to ensure the safety and security of future generations. Section 6. A new direction for the Philippines. While the war on drugs dominated international headlines, the Duterte administration also pursued a number of other policy initiatives aimed at transforming the Philippine economy and improving the lives of ordinary Filipinos. These included infrastructure development, tax reform, and poverty alleviation programs. Duterte's economic policies were geared towards attracting foreign investment, creating jobs, and reducing poverty. He implemented tax reforms aimed at simplifying the tax system and reducing the burden on businesses. He also launched an ambitious infrastructure program, dubbed Build, 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 aimed at improving transportation, energy, and communication networks across the country. In the realm of foreign policy, Duterte pursued a more independent path, seeking to reduce the Philippines' reliance on the United States and forge closer ties with other regional powers, particularly China and Russia. This strategic pivot was motivated by Duterte's desire to assert Philippine sovereignty and to pursue closer economic cooperation with emerging markets. Section 7. Mindanao, Taming the South. The Duterte administration focused on Mindanao, a region plagued by poverty and conflict. Duterte, a native of Davao City, understood the region's complexities. He appointed Moro Islamic Liberation Front members to his cabinet to foster trust. His administration pursued peace talks with other rebel groups. In 2017, Duterte declared martial law in Mindanao after the Marawi siege. The declaration had mixed reactions, with concerns about human rights abuses. However, it was largely supported as a measure to restore order. The Marawi siege lasted 5 months, testing Duterte's administration. The military retook the city from militants. The siege highlighted the ongoing threat of terrorism and the need for vigilance. Section 8. Unbowed by criticism. Throughout his presidency, Duterte remained a polarizing figure, both domestically and internationally. His brash style, unorthodox policies, and often controversial statements drew criticism from human rights groups, opposition politicians, and foreign governments. The International Criminal Court launched an investigation into alleged extrajudicial killings committed during the Philippine drug war. Duterte responded by withdrawing the Philippines from the ICC, accusing the court of bias and interference in the country's internal affairs. Despite the controversies and criticisms, Duterte remained immensely popular throughout his presidency. His approval ratings remained consistently high, a testament to his strong connection with the Filipino people. Many Filipinos admired his decisiveness, his willingness to challenge the status quo, and his commitment to improving the lives of ordinary citizens. Section 9. Duterte's Legacy, a Transformed Nation. As Rodrigo Duterte's presidency drew to a close, he left behind a legacy of profound change and lasting impact. His tenure was marked by both significant achievements and enduring controversies, a testament to the complexity of the man and the challenges he faced. On the one hand, Duterte's war on drugs, while credited with reducing crime rates, came at a high cost in terms of human life and raised serious concerns about human rights violations. His crackdown on dissent and attacks on the media also drew condemnation from press freedom advocates and raised concerns about the erosion of democratic institutions. On the other hand, Duterte's economic policies helped to sustain the Philippines' economic growth, attract foreign investment, and create jobs. His infrastructure program, though criticized for its reliance on Chinese loans, led to the construction of new roads, bridges, and airports, improving connectivity and boosting economic activity. Perhaps Duterte's most enduring legacy will be his success in connecting with the Filipino people on a visceral level. His blunt pronouncements, his willingness to challenge the elite, and his focus on the concerns of ordinary citizens resonated deeply with a population weary of corruption and inequality. Section 10. My loyalty is not to the elite. My loyalty is to the people. These words, spoken by Rodrigo Duterte during his 2016 presidential campaign, encapsulate the essence of his political philosophy. Throughout his career, Duterte remained a staunch advocate for the marginalized, the forgotten, and the voiceless. He championed the causes of the poor, the oppressed, and the victims of crime, often at the expense of his own political capital. Duterte's presidency may be over, but his impact on the Philippines will continue to be felt for years to come. His legacy is a complex one, a tapestry woven with threads of both progress and controversy. But one thing is certain. Rodrigo Duterte was a leader who left an indelible mark on his nation, a man who dared to challenge the status quo and to fight for the aspirations of the Filipino people. His story is a reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, a single individual, driven by conviction and fueled by the support of the people, can indeed make a difference. And as the Philippines navigates the complexities of the 21st century, Duterte's legacy will undoubtedly continue to shape the nation's political landscape and the lives of its people.